This depicts the Aphrodite of Cnidos, which was a popular iconography replicated by the ancient Romans. The original was created by the famous Greek sculptor Praxiteles. It was unique for its time because it depicted a nude female form. This scene depicts the goddess Aphrodite getting out of the bath. There is a sense of voyeurism to the statue, which entertained ancient Greeks and Romans.
This woman is from the Flavian period of the Roman Empire. You can distinguish statues of women from this period by their unique hairstyle. This marble statue is called the Dying Gall and depicts Gallatian after being defeated by the Romans. You can tell he is a foreigner by his necklace, chopped hair, and mustache. It is believed that this is a copy of a now lost Greek bronze sculpture. This imagery was once the Roman emblem, which today is the she-wolf. Depicted is the natural order of things: predator dominates the prey, like how Rome dominated their enemies. There are sections that are original Greek, and others that are Roman restoration. It is likely that the prey was not originally a horse, but instead a deer. Here stands the equestrian statue of Marcus Aurelius. It is made of bronze, and only survived until today due to a misidentification. It was believed for years to depict Constantine, who legalized Christianity in Rome. This statue was once entirely gilded in gold, which remnants of can still be spotted. This is the famous bronze she-wolf. Today this imagery is the emblem of Rome. It depicts the story of twins Romulus and Remus, who would go on to found Rome. They were abandoned as babies, and a she-wolf raised them. The dating of this statue has a lot of questions surrounding it, but we know for a fact that the two babies are a Renaissance replacement. A bronze statue of Hercules which was found buried in a temple. The reasoning was that it was struck by lightning and given to Zeus by burying it. The exit wound can be seen on the back of the leg.
This is the head of a dying Amazon. This iconography was popular to reproduce during ancient Roman times. The image comes from a competition between famous Greek sculptors, who were given the task of depicting the most beautiful dying Amazon warrior. This statue depicts Marsyas, whose story goes that he challenged Apollo to a lute competition and lost. For his hubris he was tied to a tree flayed alive. Ancient Romans liked this iconography for their villas, and would often commission statues of Marsyas done in red stone to look like his flesh after being flayed. These next few rooms are decorated in frescoes by Raphael and his workshop. They depict different ideas, such as stories or the arts. This is Raphael's fresco called the School of Athens. It depicts famous philosophical figures such as Aristotle, Plato, and Socrates. Raphael also snuck in a self-portrait, counting himself among the great philosophers. This is a mosaic and would have likely been placed in an ancient Roman dining hall. A glimpse into the restoration process at the Vatican Museum. Mosaics found in an ancient Roman bathhouse. Here is a copy of Michelangelo's Pieta. It isn't done in the original marble, but it allows for a close-up view of the details he meticulously carved. These paintings are Raphael's Transfiguration and Madonna of Fuligno. The Transfiguration painting was his last work, as he died in 1520 before completing it. It combines two biblical stories, the Transfiguration of Christ and the healing of a possessed boy from the Gospels. The statue Laocoon and his sons was highly influential on Renaissance artists, such as Michelangelo and Raphael. It was uncovered in 1506 and placed on public display at the Vatican. The Belvedere Torso is a well-known fragmentary sculpture that is surrounded in a lot of mystery. This is the Sarcophagus of Konstantina, who was the daughter of Constantine. It is made out of porphyry, which is a hard-to-obtain marble from Egypt. She was Christian, but her sarcophagus reflects the intermingling of religions during the time. The grapes and cupids can be interpreted in either a pagan or Christian context. St. Peter's Basilica was rebuilt in the 1500s over an ancient church that marked the spot of St. Peter's tomb. It was designed by Donato Bramante, Michelangelo, Carlo Maderno and Gian Lorenzo Bernini. Here is Michelangelo's Pieta, which is now encased behind bulletproof glass after an attack in 1972 which broke her arm and nose. The altar with Bernini's baldacchino is a defining marker within the large church. The changing of the Swiss guards at the Vatican. This is the Lateran Baptistery. It was founded by Pope Sixtus III in 440. It was likely an already established building before then, as it was believed for a time to be the place that Constantine was baptized at. The red columns are made of a material called porphyry, which comes from Egypt. The frescoes that surround the baptistery were a later addition and tell the story of Constantine's victory. Here is Michelangelo's Moses statue. It was commissioned by Pope Julius II for his tomb. The tomb was never realized fully, and so the Moses statue is just one of what would have been many biblical statues for the tomb. This depiction of Moses has him with horns, which comes from a mistranslation of the Exodus book. This church houses Michelangelo's Minerva Christ, or Risen Christ. This was his second attempt at this iconography, as his first sculpture's marble ended up having a black vein through the face. The bronze loincloth was a Baroque addition. The Pantheon was commissioned by Marcus Agrippa during the reign of Augustus and was originally dedicated to the Roman gods. In the year 609 it was converted into a Catholic church, which it has continued to service until today. It is now dedicated to Saint Mary and the Martyrs. This room is covered in Raphael's frescoes which tell the story of Cupid and Psyche and the triumph of Galatea. These walls are covered in paintings. None of these are real curtains. This painting was created based on Leonardo's sketch of the Mona Lisa. The inclusion of columns is interesting, as the Mona Lisa does not have them, which could suggest it was trimmed down. This room is also covered in paintings, and none of the columns on the walls are real. This room is littered with sculptures by Michelangelo, including the David and slave statues that would have been for Pope Julius's tomb. This is the Palazzo Vecchio, and was the building which housed the Republic of Florence. Michelangelo's David originally stood in front of it, and a copy can still be seen today. The Loggia dei Lanzi stands next to it, and houses many statues of Greek stories. This was a place where ordinary people could walk by and see great works of art. Botticelli's Birth of Venus in the Uffizi Gallery. Here is the Cathedral of Santa Maria del Fiore, or the Florence Cathedral. The dome by Brunelleschi is famous. Michelangelo's David statue was commissioned to be placed here, but ended up in front of the Palazzo Vecchio, and later in the Accademia Gallery. Here is the Colosseum. It was originally called the Flavian Amphitheater after the emperor who built it, Vespasian Flavian. It was used for gladiator matches and animal hunting games. For a time the theater could be flooded with water, and naval reenactments were put on. The Colosseum was built on top of Emperor Nero's man-made lake, and once had a colossal bronze statue of him in front of it. When Christianity became dominant, the games were stopped, and the building fell into disrepair. It was taken up in the Middle Ages as a castle, and eventually a colony of cats claimed it. Its value was only recently considered, and steps to preserving it have been taken, but it is heavily damaged from years of abandonment. Here is the Roman Forum, right next to the Colosseum. It was the home of many government buildings, including the building in which the Roman Senate would meet.